Hey guys, so today we're talking about gear, specifically belt systems, kind of how I have my belt set up and why. But before we get into it, guys, you have to be careful when watching gear videos because it can be really easy to want to just copy other people's gear and how they have them set up. I know I've done it, a lot of people have done it, but it's not the best way to do it because the fact of the matter is I may have different needs than you have. I may be in a different environment than you. I may have a different mission set, so to speak, than you. So it's really important to kind of tailor your gear based on your experiences and your needs. So keep that in mind. Now, specifically for my belt setups, I have mine tailored to my needs, my environment, kind of what I have it set out for. So for me personally, being a responsibly armed citizen, a well-equipped citizen, a modern-day Minuteman, so to speak, I have kind of my duty belt set up, kind of tailored around that. Also being an instructor, you know, having this tailored to things that I may need teaching a class, or maybe even me just being a shooter, right? If I'm at the range doing some personal training, maybe I'm shooting a match, maybe I'm putting on a match. So having everything on here that I need for all those situations is kind of how I have my gear set up. Now guys, this is just one configuration. I like to switch my gear up a lot. I like to change different things out, figure out what works for me, what doesn't, what I like, what I don't. So this configuration that you see here is a pretty baseline configuration I like. I've kind of tested a lot of things out before, but I'm probably going to be switching something out in the next month or two. So that's just kind of how I like to do things. I like to try different things and have experience in different areas. Now, let's talk about belt systems specifically. There's typically two kinds of belt systems, right? There are kind of the big fat padded ones that just kind of go over everything, and then you have kind of more sleek slimline two-piece belt systems, velcro belt systems like this Blue Alpha Gear belt. Typically with the big fat belt systems from like HSGI or Cry or the T-Rex Arms Orion, typically they have like a non-slip rubber material on the inside to keep them from sloshing around, whereas something like this Blue Alpha Gear belt or the Ronin Senshi or something like that has Velcro, hook and loop that kind of intertwine with each other. For these two-piece Velcro belt systems, you have an inner belt that has Velcro loop on it, and that kind of goes through your your pant belt loops, and then this just kind of that you add all your attachments and accoutrements to. You just kind of put that over it, intertwining those Velcro places. So the pros, I've run both belt systems for quite a while. I have pretty extensive experience on both systems, and I'll be honest guys, I prefer a sleek slimline Velcro belt like this one. I have a few reasons for that. Typically, one of the advantages of the kind of the big padded belt systems is in cold weather, like it is today. It's pretty cold today up here in the Midwest. It can be nice to have, you know, if you're wearing a big Carhartt, a lot of layers, to have a big fat belt that just kind of goes over everything, right? Another reason why people like to run them is to have them be very quick to deploy. They keep them in their cars or whatever. You know, it can be very quick to just kind of take it out, throw it on. But the thing is, I've been able to achieve both of those things very well with this belt right here. For cold weather, I just tuck all my layers in, keeps my body heat regulating within each other, which is nice, and I'm able to put this over everything. No issues there, even in sub-zero temperatures. I'm also able to have this be deployed very quickly, simply because of Blue Alpha Gear, the way they have their belt system set up is you can do an upgrade for the inner belt, which is super cool, is you can upgrade it to their low profile EDC belt, which is very thick, very stiff and rigid, and I use this as a concealed carry belt every day. So all I have to do, if I want to deploy this belt very quickly out of my vehicle or whatever it may be for whatever circumstance, I can just take my concealed carry holster off and attach this bad boy on. So very quick. Honestly, just as quick as one of those padded belt systems. The issues that I've had with those padded belt systems is even though they have that non-slip material on the inside, typically when you start weighing it down with all the stuff, loaded mags and stuff like that, when I start sprinting, start running around, doing stuff, no matter how tight I get it, it's going to start sloshing around a little bit, and it's not going to stay in the same spot every time. And I want my gear to be in the same spot every time. I want consistency. The other issue I had, and the biggest issue I had, was if I was ever crouching or kneeling, that belt would just start working its way up and riding its way up onto my belly. And next thing you know, I had an outside belly band, which is not great. So, not a fan of that. So between those two belt systems, I much prefer a sleek slimline belt like this. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. So this is a Blue Alpha Gear. I believe it is their double rig duty belt, whatever it is they call it. I'm not totally sure. This has MOLLE on it. You don't really need the MOLLE. It's not super necessary. It's nice to have. You can attach things to, especially if you have MOLLE attachments, but none of these attachments I have on my belt. They're all Velcro or clips. I don't really run MOLLE on here, but it gives you more options if you want to do that. So coming over here, we got a nice Cobra buckle. This has a D-ring. Now, you may be asking, as a civilian, why on earth would you need a D-ring? Typically, D-rings are used for airborne operations, clipping into helicopters and planes. As a civilian, I'm not doing that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it's a pretty cheap add-on, and I use it for admin stuff. I like to be able to clip in extra set of gloves, or really be able to clip anything and have a carabiner. It can clip right in, and it works out pretty good. So for something that just kind of sits on there, it doesn't really take up any extra space or anything, it works out great. And who knows, maybe I'll have my own helicopter someday. That'd be pretty cool. So moving over to the side here, I have a kind of a cheap little glove hanger. I literally got this on Amazon, I think. Blue Alpha Gear actually makes their own now, which is kind of cool. Kind of interfaces with their belt a little bit better. Just as a little loop, has a nice little HK style clasp hook that I can just kind of hook my gloves into. I use gloves a lot. You know, if I'm running my gun hard in the summer, it gets hot, especially shooting suppressed, or maybe I just don't want to touch something with my bare hands. So that's great. Now moving to the side here, I have my sidearm set up here. So got my Glock 17 riding in this Safariland 6390 RDS holster. Huge fan of Safariland holsters. Now I have this riding on a QLS mid-ride and also the QLS quick locking system. So let's talk about the mid-ride here for a sec. This is really cool. So the UBL mid-ride is actually my favorite kind of holster belt system, or belt setup kind of attachment. And the reason for that is because it really sets the holster at a perfect ride height, right? So it's not a low ride kind of drop leg holster. It's also not a super high hip line holster. So such as like this Safariland paddle, if I were to put this in here, it's gonna be a little bit higher. And the problem is with those drop legs and with the hip height is I'm having to contour my upper body in order to draw the gun and present it, whether it be kind of reaching down or reaching up, and I'm not a fan of that. So the UBL mid-ride is the perfect height because I can grab my gun without having to contour my body. My shoulders are aligned the way they should be, and I can draw the gun, no problem, and it works out great. Now, I do not run a leg strap. I used to. Just, I don't know, after you kind of get outside, start doing some hiking, some rucking, and really kind of moving around with your gear, you'll realize that belts or leg straps aren't super comfortable. So there's a use for them, especially if you're running, you know, passive retention holsters. You know, you tighten them down, they're really helpful for that. But for me, if I run a Safariland holster, I really don't need one. So I don't run one right now for that. Now, I have the QLS quick locking system. The QLS, I have a fork on here in this holster, and then I have the QLS receiving plate. This is by far my favorite holster attachment system because it allows me to have one QLS receiver plate and have a bunch of different options and different forks that I can put on different holsters. So if I want to run a Safariland, you know, 6390 holster like this, I can. Otherwise, if I want to switch holsters like this, this is actually one of our new Excel Arctos passive retention holsters. These are available on our website. You can check those out. If I just want to run a passive retention, as long as I have a QLS fork on there, I can go ahead and hook this bad boy in, and I'm good to go. Or maybe I don't even want to run a light at all. Here's another Arctos holster we have available, non-light bearing. As long as it has a QLS fork on it, I can switch it out, interface it with the QLS receiver plate, and I'm golden. This is really awesome being a holster manufacturer, or even just being a shooter in general. If you're switching different, switching between different guns or different lights, it's really handy to have the QLS quick system, and I really dig it. Honestly, probably my favorite attachment on this whole belt system. Now, moving over here, I have an HSGI Taco pouch. This is the belt version, so it has kind of the Velcro loop around here that I can kind of hook into the belt. this around my sidearm. On my left side, my dominant side, I keep a Multitool. If you have done anything in life, you will realize how handy multi-tools are. I honestly never find myself anywhere without one. So on my belt is no exception, so I like to keep a multi-tool right there. I keep it on my dominant side because typically I don't have to reach it in a super fast hurry. So if I'm shooting or whatever, I can reholster or grab it with my left hand, not a big deal. The cool thing about HSGI tacos, because they're very adjustable with the paracord retention they have here, if I need to, I can take an extra mag, kind of put it in there, and it fits perfect. Or I can fit a flashlight or a lot of different things around this size. So not a big deal there. Really like that. Now moving over, I have a med kit. Med kits are really important to have on your belts, guys, because a lot of times when I'm at the range, I'm not wearing gear, other gear like plate carriers or chest rigs, and I may have a med kit in my vehicle, but if I'm at a match or doing whatever it is I may be doing, I may not be near my vehicle, so having medical equipment on my person at all times when I'm shooting is really important for me personally. So I like to have this right behind me on my belt. This is the T-Rex Arms Med 1. I like this because it's not super big and bulky. I'm also a huge fan of Live the Creed med pouches as well. I have a North American Rescue kind of med pack in here. I have a lot of different things in there, and it also has these nice little elastic loops on the bottom for a tourniquet. I have this stage kind of facing out on my non-dominant side. That way I can grab it and reach around and grab it with my non-dominant hand. If I were to have my pistol out, I can kind of grab it without having to compromise that, which is nice. It's not too bulky and kind of just has these zippers. Comes out with a tray full of all the medical equipment. Good to go. Moving over, I have another T-Rex Arms product. I have a T-Rex Arms dump pouch here. I've tried a lot of different dump pouches, guys, and this is honestly by far my favorite because it can fold up nice and low profile, doesn't take up much space right here, and all I gotta do is un-velcro this guy, and I have a decent sized dump pouch right here. It has a nice little hood if it's raining out or whatever. Honestly, guys, this is probably one of my most used items on my belt because I throw so much crap in here, and it is so handy because typically a lot of dump pouches are used for like storing empty mags or full mags. And the thing is, guys, I use this for so much more than just that. I use this for pasty guns, extra duct tape, a water bottle, extra mags if I need them, right? I can fit so much stuff, even extra medical in here if I'm doing a really big range day with a lot of guys or something. There's honestly so many things you can put in here. Now, the reason why I like the T-Rex Arms one is because it has something that not a lot of other dump pouches have, and that is these two little loops here on the bottom that interface, or that you can loop through this nice little paracord with this clip that goes around your leg. And the reason you have that is because when you start weighing this down with water, or maybe some full mags and a pasty gun, extra duct tape or electrical tape, whatever it may be, when this is on your belt line, it's gonna be flopping around, smacking you in the butt every 2 steps. And it's really annoying. And so having this little guy to be able to kind of just wrap around your leg is super handy. And I use this a lot when I am using my dump pouch and putting a lot of heavy stuff in it. So when I'm done with it, kind of just roll it up and put the Velcro over that, and I'm good to go. Typically I leave it out because I use it so much. Now moving over, I have another HSGI taco. Once again, the belt kind that has the elastic, or not the elastic, the Velcro kind of loop around that I can loop into my belt. I keep a handheld flashlight here. This is the Mod Light handheld, really like that. Now the cool thing, like I said before, I can put, because this is an HSGI taco with the paracord that has some adjustability and some stretch to it, I can throw a lot of different stuff in here, whether it be another pistol mag or different kinds of handhelds. So I have a Mod Light here, works great, I can stick it in there. I have a Streamlight ProTac 2LX, fits in there perfect. Or even a weird shaped light like this Surefire Stiletto Pro, I can still fit this baby in here, no problem. So I really like that. Keeping a handheld flashlight, I carry this one on me all the time. This is my EDC flashlight, but when I'm on the range, especially doing low light stuff, whether it be with night vision or even just low light shooting in general, I really like to have another set or another handheld light on me. I keep this on my non-dominant side, specifically because if I'm shooting one-handed, I can reach around with my right hand, my non-dominant hand, grab that, deploy that if I need to, and it works great. But I also use it for a lot of admin purposes too. It works great. Now moving over, I have a T-Rex Arms Mars Carrier. These are nice. We will be making our own very soon. Stay tuned for that. Those are going to be released very soon in the future. But I'm running these for right now. I've been running them for a long time. They work nice. I do like, if I'm going to run something like a nylon, I do like the S-Tack Kiwis. I ran these for a long time. They're pretty inexpensive. They're like 15, 20 bucks. They have these little malice clips that you can route through the molly on your belt and have little, they're really small footprint. They're nylon with a nice little Kydex insert in there. You can kind of form that to whatever retention you want with your mag. These are great. They're very low profile. You can stack a lot of them on the belt and it works out great. But I prefer more of a Kydex hard solution such as these Mars carriers. So I keep one rifle mag on me. Now I have these. Actually, I'll move over. I'll talk about these too. I have pistol mags here. I have these canted, as you can see, and the reason for that is because when I'm doing any kind of reloads, coming down and hitting that mag with my support hand to grab it, it's a little bit more natural to come down at an angle and grab it right out of here versus straight vertical, where I have to kind of rotate my arm a little bit more to get it out. It's not a big deal, honestly, guys. It's not a big deal, but I prefer to run them like this. I may switch them back to vertical here pretty soon to kind of just play with it, make sure I'm seeing differences, if I am seeing any differences. One reason I do like them like this, kind of canted, is if I'm running a plate carrier or a chest rig, any type of more gear, having them canted like that, they're not really going to get in the way if I'm ever crouching or bending over or doing anything like that, because my gear being kind of at my chest level here, if they're kind of canted off to the side, they're not really going to get in the way. So that's nice. But if you have them vertical, you can kind of keep them a little bit more closer together versus canted. You kind of have to space them out. So in my opinion, in my experience, it's kind of a horse apiece. Not really a huge deal. Now, let's talk about how I have these attached to this belt here. I really like this. These are the Blade Tech Locks. I'm a huge fan of these because all I have to do is undo this little clip, push these ears together, and I can take this off and I can add either, maybe I want to add another rifle mag, right? Maybe I want to run 2 rifle mags. Or maybe I want to take off the rifle mag. I can set this in right here. Or maybe I want to take off the rifle mag because I'm not going to do any rifle stuff. And I can add another pistol mag, right? So I'm a huge fan of the Blade Tech Lock because they're super fast and they work great. They give you a lot of different options and adjustability as far as how you want to run your gear, and I like that a lot. I'm also a huge fan of the Safariland ELS system. The ELS system is similar to the Safariland QLS. It's essentially the same thing, it's just smaller for mag pouches and stuff like that. But I like the Blade Tech Locks and also the ELS because they offset the mags from your body, which is super helpful when you are running stuff like plate carriers or chest rigs or any type of chest worn gear. It really offsets it a little bit more so you can reach it and access it a little bit better. So for my main setup, I typically run 2 pistol mags, 1 rifle mag. Works good for me. If I run more than 2 rifle mags, if I run like 3 rifle mags, it just gets too heavy. I start getting pressure points on my hips. It's not fun. And typically, the more weight you put on your belt, it's gonna wear you down a little bit more than wearing more mags in a chest rig or a plate carrier in your chest. So I like to keep this a little bit more slimline, a little bit less stuff, and keep it a little bit lighter to keep my hips more mobile. Now guys, what I recommend when you're setting up a belt system like this, start with bare minimum. Literally start with a holster, mag pouches, and then maybe a med kit. From there, you can start adding in different attachments, different things. After you've been to the range 3, 4, 5 times and you're like, man, I really wish I had this on my belt. It would be super convenient, or maybe I just really needed it at that point in time. Then you can start adding things and figuring out, based on your experience, what you need and what you don't. So that's kind of how I have this set up. Now, what if I have a different mission set, right? What if my mission set is competition, right? So I shoot a lot of USPSA, which is primarily handgun competition shooting, and there are different kind of regulations, gear regulations, or at least there were, not as many anymore, for carry optics. I mostly shoot carry optics division, and this is kind of tailored for that. Now, as you can notice, I have my mag pouches. Typically all I have here is a holster setup and mag pouches because that's all I need. I may throw a med kit on here every once in a while depending on what I'm doing, how big of a match it is, and where I'm at. But as you can see, when I'm wearing this, this is going to be very similarly set up to my other belt. And I like that. I like having consistency. These are CR Speed mag pouches, have a little knob for adjusting the retention. With competition, it's really nice to be able to adjust that. If I want it really, really loose for a stage that I'm specifically doing forced mandatory reload or something like that, it's nice to have that kind of adjustability. Now, I'm also running a Safariland UBL mid-ride and the QLS system, so then I can run one of our non-light bearing Arctos holsters, and I can clip this in. Oh, see if you can get this here. There we go. I can clip this in and I run that. I typically do not run a light for competition for USPSA. You can, the rules allow it now, but I don't. It doesn't really affect anything for me personally. So this specifically, this belt, kind of in this blue color that looks nice, is a Double Alpha Academy belt. It's a little bit thicker, but it's similar. It's a similar belt system, has Velcro on the inside, and I just attach that to my Velcro loop inside belt. So guys, ultimately, when it comes down to setting up gear, whether it be belts, plate carriers, chest rigs, holsters, guns, whatever it may be, when you're setting out any type of kit and gear, it is really important to set it up tailored to your needs and to get out and train with it. Because this gear doesn't really mean anything if you suck at shooting. So, guys, get out and train, be safe, and thanks for watching. Ah, 234. Ah, that Charlie right there. Okay, it's recording 6 shots for some reason. 234. I think, yeah, I think that's more like a 210 or something. I don't know. Charlie. Trying to get sub 2 with all alphas.